Hello, my dear friends and my dear fellow students. My name is Tamsakam and I am currently teaching in Sazuli College, and I will be discussing about sociology for class 12. So, before we start with the topic, I would like to ask a question of what is sociology? I repeat again, what is sociology? And I am very sure almost all of you will be giving me an answer saying that sociology is the study of society. Or we can also say that sociology is the systematic or the scientific study of society. So, what do we study about the society in sociology? Here, we talk about the social relationships, we also talk about the social interaction, and we also study the structure of the society. And that is what we study in sociology. For example, social relationships, like the relationship between an individual with the society, such as the family, or even the churches, etc. Or, for example, social structure or the structure of the society. What do we study about the structure of society here? We study about the different parts or the different components of society in the structure of society. So what are the different parts or what are the different components of the society? It can be social organizations such as the Naga Students Federation, the Naga Hoho, or the ANSO. So those are some of the examples of social organization. Or we also study about the social institutions. Social institutions such as the family, marriage, okay? So all those things are what we study in social institutions. Even those educational institutions such as college, such as the schools, etc. It makes the structure of the society. Or we can also study about the group of individuals. For example, your group of friends. Or even me, I have very 8 close friends at home. So in the same way, it also makes the structure. A group of friends also makes the structure of the society. And that is what we will be discussing about today. In your textbook, it will be in Unit 2. It starts from page number 13 and it will go till page number 18 in your textbook. And the name of the topic is the structure of society. The structure of society. And what do we study about the structure of society here? We study about different aspects of the society. And under this, the first subtopic that I would like to discuss with you is about the demography, or it will be given there in the textbook saying that it's social demography. So social means something that is related to the society, or we can also say that things that happens in the society, it's something related to the social. But what is demography? And I'm very sure almost all of you must be wondering, what is demography here? Demography was first used by a French scholar who was called by the name Dewey. In French, or the French scholars call him as Dewey or Kia. And some of the English scholars would call him as Gillard. So you can either pronounce his name as Kia or Gillard. And this particular word was first used by him in the year 1885. So the word demography first came into existence in the year 1885, and it was given by a French scholar who was called by the name Kia or Gillard. And this particular word, demography, is a combination of 2 words. It's a combination of 2 words. The first word is demos, and the second word is graphy. And the demo means people, and graphy means the study or the science. So if you combine these 2 words, it is called as the science or the study of people. That is what it means here. The science or the study of people. So what do we study about the people out here? Okay? So what do we study about the people out here? We study about the different components of population or people in the society. For example, the population size of India. What is the population of India? And according to 2011 census, it says that the population of India is 1.21 billions. I repeat again, 1.21 billion, okay? So we study about the size of population, or we also study about the different age composition in the society, such as there are some young ones, there are some old ones, okay? So those are what we study. Different groups of people is what we even study under demography. So in simple terms, demography is the study of people and its relative aspects. So if there's any question on what is demography, I think that will be the right answer. And under the demography, okay, we have different meanings that I would like to, illustrate a little bit on. The first one that I want to discuss with you is about demographic structure. So demographic structure is what I want to discuss with you first. Demographic structure talks about the factual figures here. Like I have mentioned before, the size of population, or even the different age composition of the society. Or we also talk about, the different age composition in the society, like I've told you, or also the different distribution of genders in the society, such as how many males are there in that particular area, or how many female are there in that particular area. When I'm talking about area, I'm referring to a town, I'm referring to a district, or even a country, or even a state as well. So when I'm talking about an area, I'm referring to all those particular places, okay? So I want you to be, I don't want any one of you to get confused with that. The next word that I want to discuss with you is about demographic process. Demographic process is what I would like to discuss with you here. And under this demographic process, here we're talking about a continuous aspect, okay? It's an ongoing process in the sense that we will discuss about the growth of population. And under the growth of population, we're talking about the birth rate, the death rate of a particular area, in a particular year. That is what we will be discussing about. So it's a continuous process here. And the next word that I would like to discuss with you is about the social structure under demography, okay? The social structure under demography. So what does it mean by the term social structure here under demography? So the composition of different groups of people, you see? The composition of different groups of people. What are the different compositions of the society, or what are the different compositions of people? For example, people belonging to different race, people belonging to different religion, okay? And also people belonging to different tribes. For example, in Nagaland, we have 16 tribes. And under this, okay, we have Aos, Angamis, Lotas, Jagasangs, etc. So different groups of people. So social structure means composition of different groups of people. It can be based on race, it can be based on religion, Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, etc. Okay? So all those words comes under this social structure here. And the next word that I would like to discuss with you is about social process. Okay? I repeat again, social process. Social process is what we will be discussing now. Social process here means, the process by which, okay, the individual tries to maintain, okay, mutual understanding in the society. Mutual understanding means in order to maintain peace and harmony in the society. I repeat again, in order to maintain peace and harmony in the society, okay, this social process is what it means here. So for example, cooperation, okay? The best example for social process will be cooperation. For example, during this time of quarantine, or during the time of this lockdown, what happened is that you are asked to stay at home by the government, or even by different civil bodies, you're asked to stay at home. And by cooperating with them, it will be beneficial for you so that you will not get infected with the virus, or even it will not be a nuisance to the society as a whole. So maintaining the peace and harmony by an individual or maybe a group, is called as the social process. So let's come back to the topic once again. We will be discussing about the types of demography, okay? The types of demography. The first one that I would like to discuss with you is about the formal demography, okay? Formal demography, what is formal demography here? Under this formal demography, okay, we will be discussing about, the mathematical study, okay, the mathematical study of society, okay, is what we will be discussing about, okay? Mathematical study of society, okay? So what does it mean by the term mathematical study? For example, the size of the population, I have cited that example, earlier also. So I will be citing this example once again, the size of the population or the number of male or female in the society or in a particular place can come under formal demography. The next is social demography, okay? What do we study under this, social demography? Keeping in mind the demographic structure and the demographic process, we study about the effects of the demographic structure or the rise of population in the society. Because of the rise of population, what is the outcome in the society? For example, if there is a high birth rate or high growth rate in the society, what happens is that it will also lead to unemployment. See, when we have high birth rate or high growth rate of population in the society, what happens is that the jobs will be less, but the people who will apply for a particular job will be very high. And that is the reason why it will lead to unemployment. And because of unemployment again, it will affect the society even more further, saying that no, it will lead to poverty again. So this is the reason why, okay, this is what we study in social demography. The next point that I would like to focus on is population growth, okay? In simple terms, population growth, okay? Population growth means increase in population, okay? Increase in population or increase in the growth rate of the population. So there are some factors to why it leads to the growth in population here. The first one is the birth rate and the death rate, okay? When the birth rate is higher than the death rate, what happens is that there is immense growth in the population, which means there is an increase in the population. For example, the birth rate of a particular state, okay, is around 100, okay, persons, and the death rate is around just 10 in that particular state in a year. For example, in a year in the sense 2019, okay. Now, the growth in the population will be 90 persons in that particular place in a year. So 90, which means when the birth rate is higher than the death rate, okay, here the population will automatically rise. That is what it means here, okay. So that is the first point that I would like to discuss under population growth. The second is immigration and immigration. Here, these two words are the types of migration. What is migration? Migration means movement of people from one place to another place. I repeat again, movement of people from one place to another place, okay? It's there in your page number 14. If you could kindly look into your textbooks, okay? It's there in your page number 14. So, under this migration, we have two types. The first one is immigration, okay? I-M-M-I-G-R-A-T-I-O-N, immigration. What does it mean by the word immigration? Immigration means moving into the area, okay, or moving into an area. It means, for example, due to the COVID-19, what happened is that there are so many people who comes back to their hometown. For example, there are so many people who lives out of Nagaland where they earn their money and everything. But what happened is that because of the lockdown, they comes back to our state. So, for example, the immigrants that came back to Nagaland is around like 1,000 persons, okay? I'm just citing an example only. So it can be even more than this in reality. So immigrant means coming into the state. So how many people have come inside Nagaland here? 1,000 persons. The second is immigration. What is this immigration all about? Immigration is the moving out of people, okay? The moving out of people from a place or from a territory or from a state or from a town is called as immigration. Means moving out, which means, for example, there are some people who have moved out of Nagaland saying that we don't get any wages now since it's lockdown, we cannot work. So, for example, like 200 of them have moved out of Nagaland, okay? And now, what happened is that the number of migration is calculated in this manner. The difference between immigration and immigration. I repeat again, the difference between immigration and immigration will give you the number of migrants to a place. So what is the difference between 1,000 and 200? 800 persons, which means 800 persons have migrated into Nagaland. That means Nagaland has an increase in population by 800, and thus it also contributes to the population growth of the state. I repeat again, because of the number of migrants who have come into Nagaland, okay, which are called as immigrant, and since the immigrants are more than immigrants, what happened is that there is an increase in the population growth of a particular place or a state. That is what it means here. So in order to calculate the population growth, okay, we take into account of this few things here, okay. Present population plus bracket birth rate minus death rate, which means the difference between the birth rate and the death rate will give you the growth rate of an area, and plus bracket close again, immigration minus immigration will give you the number of migrants, okay, of an area, and thus we will get the population growth. So here we have to apply the Potmas formula where the bracket has to be solved first, then we will do the addition later on. Alright. So in that way, we get the population here, population growth. So in this way, it indicates there is an increase or decrease of the population of a particular place. The next one, or the next point that I would like to discuss with you is about fertility. But before we come into this particular topic, I would like to tell you that, the land mass of Earth that India covers is around 2.4%, okay? The land mass of India, that covers the Earth is just 2.4. But the population of India, okay, when it compares to the world population, okay, is around 17.64, okay, 17.64 of the world population is composed of India's population, So in order to get a glimpse about this, in a classroom, okay, in a classroom, we have 100 seats. And out of these 100 seats, only 2 seats belongs to you, okay? Only 2 seats belongs to you. But in these 2 seats, you have to accommodate 17 people. I hope you are getting this picture very clear now, okay? So out of the 100 seats, you only have 2 seats with you, and the population of India is around 17 persons. So you have to accommodate at least 17 persons in that particular seats. So that is what the population of India is, okay? When it's compared to the land mass of the Earth. And the next point that I would like to discuss with you is about the fertility and the birth rate, or it is also called as growth birth rate. Growth, what does it mean here? Why are we using the word growth, okay? Growth means we are taking into account of both the genders, like we're not just talking about the male, we're not just talking about the female, but we are combining both the genders. That is the reason why we're using the word growth, okay? Growth, birth rate or birth rate, and we will also discuss about the fertility. Excuse me. So, fertility refers to number of children. Okay, I repeat again. Fertility refers to number of children, okay, that a woman can bear, okay, or number of children that is born to a woman, okay. So a woman in India today, it says that a woman, or the ability of a woman to give birth. Now what happened is that according to the statistics in the year 1995 and 2000, okay, it was around 3.3, okay, and in the year 2003 it was around 2.3, and in the year 2007 it was around 2.27. What does it mean here? Okay, the ability of a woman, to conceive a baby, which means a woman can conceive around 2 babies or maybe a little bit more than 2, which is 3, okay? Most of the time it will be 2 and most of the time it will be 3, okay? So that is what it means here. Now, some of you must be thinking, you have a family where your siblings are around like 4 to 5 of you, and then, here I'm telling you that it will be around 2 and 3, right? It will be a huge confusion to you. In order to make your confusion very clear out here, okay, I'm talking about the year 2017. So, couples who get married in the year 2017 has a probability of, giving birth to around 2 to 3 children for every family. That is what it means here. Or, I'm not talking about a single woman in particular. It depends on her. But we're taking the average of all the women in India. And thus, we come to this figure, okay? 2.27, that is what it means here. The next point that I would like to discuss with you is about the birth rate or the growth birth rate. Under this, okay, birth rate means, or birth rate refers, okay, to the number of live births, okay. Birth rate refers to the number of live births, okay, which means babies who are born alive, okay. Live births in an area, okay, in an area, and, okay, in an area, first, in a particular year, okay, in a particular year, this is very important here, per 1,000, okay, per 1,000 persons, okay, per 1,000 persons, that is what we will be discussing here. So, the number of live births in an area, okay, and in a particular year, per 1,000 persons in that area, okay, in that area. So, that is what it means here. So, if we are to calculate the birth rate, okay, it means the number of live births, okay, the number of live births in an area and in a particular year, okay, per 1,000 persons in that area. So here, the number of live births, which means babies who are born alive, okay. Second is in an area. Let's take the example of, like, since I'm living in Kohima, let's take the example of Kohima here, okay. In a year, in which year? For example, 2018, okay, per 1,000 persons in that area, in the same area, Kohima. So what does it mean here, In the year 2018, there were 1,000 persons who were living in a particular area, okay, where they gave birth to around, say, approximately 20 babies in that particular area. And that is what we take into account here. And thus we can say that, the birth rate was 20 for the city of Kohima or for the town of Kohima. That is what it means here, okay. So the number of live births, okay, in an area, okay, and in a particular year per 1,000 persons in that area is called as birth rate or the growth birth rate. Here, when we look into the figures of birth rate, in the year 1991, it was around 27.4, which means out of 1,000 persons, they would give birth to around 27.4 live babies, okay. But what happened was that 2013, it has decreased a little bit, and to 2020, it has decreased to 18.2. Out of this 1,000 persons, okay, they would give birth to around 18.4 2 new life babies. That is what it means here. So before, what happened is that the birth rate was very high. When we look into the data and everything, the birth rate was very, very high. Why? Because there was a preference. There are so many reasons. The first reason is early marriage. When you are marrying early, you have a tendency to give more, birth to more babies, right? That was one reason. The second is that, our forefathers would believe that the more the number in a family, it will be a prosperity for the family. Why? Because more hands in order to do agriculture, in order to do farming. That was their belief. And that is the reason why the growth rate was very high in those days. But what happened was that, why did the birth rate came down? It's because of various programs such as the family planning. We will be discussing about family planning, in our later classes. And, because of family planning and also because of the spread of education, okay? Because of the spread of education, what happened was that the birth rate also came down. Now, the next topic that I would like to discuss with you is about the death or mortality rate, okay? Death or mortality rate. Now, what does it mean by the term, okay, mortality? Mortality simply means death only, or the death of individuals. That is what it means by mortality here. So, now, there are some important implications, or there are some important aspects of mortality or death, okay? Some of the important aspects are, the death rate, okay? I have written it in short form, DR, which means death rate. The next is infant mortality, okay? Infant mortality. And the next is life expectancy. So those are the three important aspects of mortality and death. So the first one is death rate, infant mortality, and the next is life expectancy. Okay, so let's discuss one by one here. Now, mortality, like I've told you, simply means death only. The next is death rate. Okay, death rate means the number of deaths in a year. Okay, in a year at a particular place per 1,000 persons, okay? Per 1,000 persons is what it means by death rate. Number of deaths, okay? Number of deaths in a year at a particular place, okay? Per 1,000 persons is called as death rate, okay? The death rate here. So, for example, in a place, I will take the example, in a particular year. Which year was it? Let's take the example again, 2017, okay? In the year 2017, at a particular place, right? In a particular place. Which place? Let's take the example of Mon, okay? In the place of Mon town, out of 1,000 persons, okay, there were around like 20 persons who have died. See, so in a particular year, 2017, in the year 2017, at a particular place means in the place of Mon, there were 20 persons who have died, out of 1,000 persons in an area. So that is why, that is what it means by death rate. Okay, that is what it means by death rate. And when we calculate this death rate, okay, the calculation of death rate, here in the year 1991, it was 10 out of 1,000 persons, okay? In the year 2013, it was 7.4, and in the year 2019, it was 7.3, okay? Which means it has gone down, okay, as the years have increased because of the medical facility, because of good medical facility that has been available to us. The next is infant mortality, means the number of newborn babies, okay, or the number of newborn child, okay, who dies before the completion of 1 year, okay, before the completion of 1 year, okay, if the newborn baby dies, okay, that can be called as infant mortality, okay, that can be called as infant mortality. The next is, infant mortality rate. What does it mean by the term infant mortality rate here? Infant mortality rate, okay, infant mortality rate means the death of an infant or the death of infant in a year, okay, per 1,000 live births, which means out of 1,000 live births, okay, how many infants have died in a year, okay? That is what it means by infant mortality rate, okay? That is what it means by infant mortality rate. The next one is life expectancy, okay? Life expectancy, what does it mean here? I'll just ask you a question, how many years do you expect to live? That is what it means by life expectancy only, okay? Number of years, okay, born, number of persons born in a year, okay? Number of persons born in a year, okay? Number of persons born in a year is what it means by, number of persons born in a year and can be expected to live, okay? Number of persons born in a year that can be expected to live, okay? That can be expected to live. That can be expected to live is called as expectation of life at birth or life expectancy, which means number of persons, okay, born in a year, okay, that can be expected to live, okay, is what it means by expectancy of life. So, the last topic is migration. So, migration means movement of people from one place to another. It can be internal, it can be international, okay, which means internal means within the local level or within the region, okay, from northeast to south, from south to southern region to northeast region. Or it can be external, like the international and everything. So, with that, I would like to conclude the structure of society here. We have dealt with half of the chapter, and the remaining part of the chapter, we will be dealing with it in the next classes. And when I discuss with you, or when we have discussions in the, here, I would want the students to kindly refer to the textbooks, all right? I want you to kindly refer to the textbooks, and this is a very good time for you to stay at home and study. So I would encourage all of you to really give your effort, okay? Don't think that we don't have classes, so let's relax. So there's no time for relaxing, So help your parents, and in the same way, you also keep on studying. Thank you so much.